All right, so with the deadline approaching, it wasn't a matter of if, but where Jimmy Butler would go, and it is Golden State. Warriors have been looking for another star to pair with Steph Curry and Draymond for one more run, and Jimmy said, welcome to the Wild Wild West. Indeed, the Heat moving Butler to Golden State. It's a multi-team deal. The key pieces in the get-back from Miami, Andrew Wiggins, the six-time All-Star from Miami, who led the Heat to a couple of NBA Finals, did agree to a new two-year, $111 million extension with Golden State through 26-27. We welcome Shams Charania to the show. And out of the gate, let's collectively acknowledge that this man right here told us that this is what Jimmy Butler wanted, and there were protests to the contrary. No, he doesn't want to get moved. He gets moved, Shams. I just want to acknowledge that as I ask you, what had to happen for this to happen?
Scott, this all started 2 months ago when the Heat started really listening to offers for Jimmy Butler, and Butler was open to win now trade destinations. And the writing was really on the wall. You know, Pat Riley had his press conference after the season, and both sides were really looking for a move. And obviously the saga that we saw took place over the coming 2 months after that spoke for itself. There were several teams in play here this entire time, but really from the beginning of this process, the Phoenix Suns and Golden State Warriors were the two teams most in touch with the Miami Heat on trying to figure out a package. And what Miami really wanted were shorter-term contracts or a player like Andrew Wiggins who satisfied exactly what they needed, a two-way player, and they got that in Andrew Wiggins. And at the end of the day, the Golden State Warriors were able to find a deal that was suitable, and they needed to allow some dominoes, one big one being Kevin Durant, to come off the board. But when that happened today, in the second half of the day, they really started to prioritize Jimmy Butler. They worked fast, and they got this deal done.
About that domino that comes off the board in Kevin Durant, there were a lot of moving pieces there. I know I'm going to talk about it a little bit later with Brian Windhorst, but is it your understanding, Shams, that it's Kevin's preference to remain with Phoenix?
Scott, Kevin Durant has never requested a trade this season. He has not asked out of Phoenix. And honestly, I think him being in any type of a trade conversation over the last week was a surprise to him, somewhat caught him off guard from my understanding. But this is a player who, obviously, we know, two-time NBA Finals MVP, two-time champion. He's someone who has a great legacy in this game. And so to be in potential trade talks and not really want out of a situation, that has to potentially rub him the wrong way, you would think. And so this is something that the Suns and Durant, to an extent, are going to have to navigate whatever tensions could still exist going into tomorrow, trade deadline, and then beyond, if assuming he's still on the roster.
Man, it's complicated. I don't know how you navigate these water, Shams. And speaking of which, I know you got your phone at the ready in case something breaks. And we got a little bonus news here on the way out. A really talented player on the move.
Yeah, Brandon Ingram has been traded from the New Orleans Pelicans, and he's going to be going to the Toronto Raptors. And for the Raptors, this is obviously they're trying to go get, to have Scotty Barnes there. They want to really build around him. And, for Brandon Ingram, last year of his contract, he's going to find a home potentially for the foreseeable future.
All right. Well, listen, I know you're in the news-breaking business, but I beg of you as a guy that lives in a town where there's an ice storm and I have to go home, please none of that late-night tweeting from the other night. If that happens again, I'm going to have to walk back in here and break this news with you. So I'm begging to break the news tomorrow morning. They need it for Get Up and First Take. Come on, my guy.
Scott, I'm going the other way. I really hope. I think we might have something, Scott, but maybe I'm just optimistic.
Your optimism
I think we
is
will.
Great. All right, listen, I got nothing to do. I'll hang out until you tell me I can go home. Shams Charania, I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can't and won't ask you about trade that hasn't been announced or completed. I just wanted to ask you, though, is there any relief, without getting into names, is there any relief to have clarity to be able to move forward? Anything emotionally you're feeling which you can give us?
Sounds like you're still asking me. I know.
I wouldn't ask you about the trade.
Yeah. Let's table this. I promise I'll give you an answer.
As for the Warriors, they're adding one of the most prolific postseason scorers in the league. He averages more points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks in the playoffs as opposed to the regular season. Only 9 players in the history of the NBA have done that, one of whom is now a teammate in Draymond Green. In addition to those numbers, there's toughness, an innate ability to move without the ball, and his tenure with the Heat. Butler shot 78% on layups and dunks off cuts, 8th best over that span. As for the Warriors, they've attempted the most layups and dunks off cuts in the NBA this season, so that seems to marry up nicely. And after beginning the season 12-3, the Warriors have been reeling down to 10th in the Western Conference entering Wednesday. Move well regarded by sports books. Golden State's odds to win the West shrunk from 30-1 down to 20-1. The man.
Long enough, you see a lot. That was, and even so, that was a new situation for sure. Just because, all the talks that were going on the last week, and until front office pulls a trigger, you don't necessarily believe anything's going to really happen. And especially with the guys that were part of the deal, I'm glad the way we did it. Looking back, to have that moment with our team in the locker room and just us talking, for Wiggs, especially the amount of time he's been here, what he meant to our team and our franchise to help us climb the mountaintop again back in 22. He changed a lot for us for the better, and I hope his experience with us, changed a lot for him as well. And he's got a lot of basketball left in him, obviously. And for, Kyle, Dennis, and Lindy, who were newcomers, they committed to the mission. They were all ultimate professionals, showed up every day, worked like they were supposed to. And it was an uncomfortable situation all the way around, trying to figure out what our team was going to be like down the stretch of the trade deadline. So I just appreciate everything that they did for us. And it was tough to go play, obviously, but we got to be professional ourselves and go out and try to win a game, but didn't work out for us.